If you've ever played an instrument, you know there's this massive difference between just hitting the right notes and actually making music. Today, we're going to dig into that exact journey, the leap from being a technician to becoming a true artist. It really all boils down to one question, doesn't it? What is it that truly separates a good musician from a really great one? Because it's not just about playing perfectly. There's something else, some deeper layer of expression that can make a performance totally unforgettable. And this quote right here, it just nails it. The big change happens when your focus shifts from what notes you're playing to how you're playing them. It stops being about what's on the page and starts being all about the feeling and the story you bring to those notes. I think a lot of us have been there. You practice for hours, you finally nail that difficult passage, but when you play the whole piece, it just feels flat, lifeless. It's a super common plateau to hit, where your skill is high, but the music is missing its voice. So, how do you push past that? Well, the first part of the answer lies in something called the develop zone. This is all about crafting the artistry. So the develop zone is basically a framework for sharpening your musical skills and really exploring expression. And that little icon, the pair of glasses, it's perfect because it's all about learning to see past the notes on the surface to really perceive the deeper stuff happening in the music, the harmony, the phrasing, all of it. I just love this analogy. Think about it this way. If learning scales and chords is like learning how to make bricks, the develop zone is where you learn to be an architect. You learn how to take those bricks and build something beautiful and meaningful. It's that bridge from just being proficient to being an artist. And this framework makes that path super clear. I mean, just take articulation. You start with the basics, right? Staccato and legato. Then you start to layer in dynamics. Then you master the more expressive tools like crescendos. And finally, you learn to weave it all together to create real musical phrasing and character. It's such a clear, powerful progression. And it goes way beyond just articulation. In the develop zone, you're honing this whole toolkit of essential skills. We're talking dynamics, tempo control, rhythmic stability, and maybe most importantly, oral acuity, your listening skills. Because learning to listen deeply is what really separates the good from the great. Okay, but technical skill, that's only half the story. To really become an artist, you also need independence. And that is the entire point of this second concept. The grow zone. The grow zone is where you build up your personal skills. Things like journaling, planning your practice, and self-reflection. That stack of notebooks icons says it all. It's about documenting your own journey and becoming your own teacher. And what's so game-changing about this is the shift in your mindset. The goal is to move away from just having a teacher tell you what to do and toward a model where you are actively directing your own learning. You really start to own your progress. And this isn't just sitting around and thinking. The Grow Zone uses these really concrete challenges to turn that reflection into action. You might keep a listening journal, record yourself, get feedback from your peers, or even plan a little concert. It's about putting your learning into practice in a really structured, powerful way. Now, you might be thinking of these as step 1 and step 2, but the real magic of this whole framework is how they work together, like a perfect duet. Okay. And this right here is the most powerful idea in this whole thing. These zones are not steps, they're meant to be used at the same time. Your technical work in the develop zone feeds your reflection in the grow zone, and your reflection in the grow zone makes your technical work so much more purposeful. This is really where it all clicks. So on the left, you've got the develop zone, that's the how, you're working on your articulation and dynamics. But then on the right, you've got the grow zone, that's the why. You're journaling about that process, you're reflecting on what's working. You stop just practicing and you start practicing with intention. It's this exact synergy, this dance between technique and reflection that is the secret sauce. It's what transforms a skilled student into a real artist. So what's the big payoff here? What's the end game? Well, it's about becoming something much more than just a performer for an exam. It's about becoming a musician for life. Ultimately, the outcome isn't just to create skilled players. It's to nurture active, self-aware musicians who are in the driver's seat of their own artistic journey. People who are ready to keep learning and growing long after any formal lessons are over. So what's the big takeaway? This whole system creates this amazing, powerful cycle of learning and reflection. It turns practice from a chore into a personal journey. and it gives you the tools you need for a lifetime of musical growth. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. If your technical skill is the instrument, and your self-reflection is the composer who decides how to use it, what kind of music will you create? Thanks for watching.